Here we go.
That ending though, he just lit him on fire. I just can't believe that. But the Fiend shouldn't have lost. But anyway, I think he'll be back tomorrow. Welcome to my WWE TLC match card recap and reactions for the full show, the kickoff show, and then I'm gonna also get into the main show as well. All the matches that I mentioned and talk about is gonna be listed in the description, and then I'm gonna also talk about the winners. But overall, a great show, and I just really didn't expect that in the ending. That was really crazy. So I'm hoping maybe I don't think that's the ending. I think it's got to be more to the storyline when it comes to the feuds and stuff like that. Now, this is the last WWE event for the whole entire year. Now, just really quick, this year has been one of the craziest, most dangerous, unpredictable years I have ever experienced, and I'm just really thankful that they put together this kind of show. And they didn't really, the fact that they put together all these different shows and week after week, the weekly shows, outside of just events like this, events and the weekly shows and just days of entertainment and countless hours of entertainment and just things to watch. And most sports and other that stuff was not the same and weren't able to really be on the air and all that. And WWE put together all these different shows, so I'm thankful that they gave us something. So we're going to get right into it with the kickoff show, and I really enjoyed it. And some of these matches were just some things that I was able to predict. And I'm just going to start with the kickoff match. This wasn't even part of the match card. This was something that they put together that they announced earlier today for Sunday. Big E, this is an 8-man tag match. Big E, Daniel Bryan, Otis, and Chad Gable was taking on Sami Zayn, King Corbin, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura in an 8-man tag match. Now, when they put together these tag teams and just with the faces, all the good guys versus the bad guys, you already know the good guys are going to win most of the time. And not all the time, but the majority during these events, they always win. And that's exactly what happened. Big E, Daniel Bryan, Otis, and Chad Gable were able to pick up the win. Now, Chad Gable is supposed to be the coach of Otis for this sort of storyline. So he's supposed to be teaching him the ways of victory when he doesn't even need Chad Gable at all. As good as he is and capable with his in-ring talent, they just gave him something to do. They just don't know what to do with some of these superstars all this time. But that was the kickoff show. So we got our winners. So let's get on to the main show. And I was really surprised that this started off the main show. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre taking on AJ Styles in the first of 2 TLC matches, tables, ladders, and chairs matches scheduled for tonight. And of course his bodyguard was there. And I didn't even know who it was because this guy, the first time I seen him, Omos. Is it Omos? That's his name. Omos is the first guy I seen. Well, from what I remember, I first saw him. This giant from WWE's WWE Underground. That was every Monday night during I guess the second hour. They will always do it. They'll have WWE's Underground take place, or maybe like a half hour or so like that. But that ceased to exist, and WWE Underground is over. So I guess they decided to take this giant, give him a role, and give him something to do when it comes to being AJ Styles' bodyguard. And he was a really key source of securing this title. Well, basically helping Drew McIntyre almost, basically helping him win in a way, because guess who cashed in tonight? The Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, which I knew he was probably going to do, but I didn't see him cashing in the way he did tonight by cashing in the contract to be inserted into this match, transforming the match. Instead of Drew McIntyre, a one-on-one TLC match, it became a triple threat TLC match, tables, ladders, and chairs match, where the winner has to climb to the top of the ladder and grab that championship. So The Miz ended up cashing in eventually. This was a great match. And I thought The Miz was probably going to secure this championship, but it looks like his Money in the Bank contract plan was unsuccessful. So basically they had Otis win the contract first. It was first on SmackDown. I have to really talk about this. First, the contract was the original contract holder, or the original Mr. Money in the Bank, was Otis from Friday Night SmackDown. So he ended up losing the match because he put the contract online. Well, I said online. Put the contract on the line against The Miz, and he lost. So now The Miz and John Morrison gets drafted to Monday nights for Monday Night Raw. So The Miz takes the contract to Raws now to Monday nights, and then we're all over here thinking that he's gonna win and he's gonna eventually be able to championship, because the prediction, or the most of you guys probably out there thought, well, The Miz is probably, no matter who wins, if it's AJ or Drew McIntyre, The Miz is gonna cash in. This is what I was thinking. He was gonna cash in regardless of who wins this match, and he's gonna be the new champion. That didn't happen. So I guess the writers put it differently. So I just think all that, you take the contract from Otis and then have him become the new Mr. Money in the Bank, only have him lose, so it wouldn't have mattered. So regardless of who had the contract, they would have been unsuccessful to cash in and try to get the championship. Now let's say, for example, The Miz ended up cashing in, he won successfully. I personally wouldn't have had a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it when The Miz was already WWE champion. He had the WWE championship years ago. But now that Drew McIntyre just retained the title, I'm cool with that too. So it seems like the writers are trying to keep him in that top spot for a good little while, since he's a 2-time WWE champion, which I like. I'm also cool with that as well, because I didn't want them to just have, well, let's have Drew McIntyre finally win the Royal Rumble, and then go on to beat Brock Lesnar to be a champion, and then have him lose his championship, and then never get it back again, and then go right back to mid-cards, go right back to the bottom of the food chain, and never to compete in the main event ever again, or for a title ever again. So I'm glad that they did this, but he's not going to be a champion for too long. I think they're going to eventually have him lose sometime, maybe early next year. So this was a really great match. I thought AJ Styles was guaranteed to take this match because Omos was going to get involved. But just to run y'all through it, once Miz cashed in and tried to get involved in the match, he changed into it. It transferred to a triple threat. John Morrison was trying to help The Miz win. He ended up hitting Omos, or AJ Styles' bodyguard, with the chair. He got chased out. So both Omos and John Morrison was out of the equation. So he never came back. Because here I was thinking that AJ Styles would be losing. I didn't even just see a Miz cashing in. I thought that Omos would probably climb. I thought his giant self would climb up to the ladder, take the championship. He wouldn't even have to go that far because he's so tall. He'd go all the way up the ladder, take the championship, and get it and give it to AJ, and he would be the winner that way. Similar to how Carmella became SmackDown Women's Champion a long time ago. But that was it for that match. But I'm really surprised. So there goes The Miz's chances. I don't think he'll ever get a chance at the WWE contract. I'm curious to see what's going to happen tomorrow. So let's get to the match. I'm glad this was the first one in the match, because I had the most to say about that. That really caught me off guard. No more contract, Money in the Bank contract, and no more sneaky title opportunities. SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks taking on Carmella. Speaking of her. For the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, her servant, Reginald, I didn't even know who he was getting involved in this match, and he interfered just as no surprise, but that still wasn't enough to stop Sasha Banks' title reign, so she still retains, and I'm curious for the next challenger for both Drew McIntyre and Sasha Banks now. So those two matches are down all the way. So 2 retained championships so far. Let's go on to the Raw Tag Team Championship with the New Days, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. I'm still surprised, and I'm still kind of upset that they split them up. Why did they split up one of the greatest tag teams? And it's just so fun. It's just so much fun to watch in the backstage promos. Just their energy, just everything. It's great. But Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods taking on the Hurt Businesses, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. These guys don't even really get that much TV time, so I'm glad that they have the Hurt Business form. And MVP was out there as well to accompany them. So by surprise, the Hurt Business, it has the tag team titles now. Now they not only have these titles, they have Bobby Lashley has the United States Championship. So now who else is missing a go right now? MVP. So is he gonna want a WWE Championship opportunity? Maybe he's gonna want that WWE Championship, or is he not gonna care about holding gold? Now, something I really see coming is once they start losing these titles, once they lose the Raw Tag Team Championship, they probably won't have the titles for that very long. And how come Bobby Lashley is not defending his United States Championship with all that talent in the back of the locker room? So I just don't know. But once they start losing these titles, I think her business is gonna start to crumble. So that's a quick little prediction. But I'm cool with them winning to get some more gold around this stable. It's not a new stable, but just I don't know. I don't know. What is MVP gonna want gold, or is he gonna just manage Cedric Alexander, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin? But they're the new tag team champions now. But speaking of tag team champions, let's get on to another tag team action match, or a match full of tag team action. Women's tag team championship being defended by Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on Asuka, and it was supposed to be Lana, but she's injured. So I knew I was able to put the pieces together before this event even started. So once she lost a partner, who's going to be her partner? She doesn't have a partner. She's going into the match solo, and she has to find a mystery partner, or she has to quickly find a partner to try to compete for the tag team championships. It was obviously going to be Charlotte Flair. I was not surprised to see it. It's great to see her back. So Charlotte Flair returns. She's back. Charlotte Flair is back in the WWE. And it made the most sense because Nia Jax, who was one half of the tag team titles, one half of the tag team champions, I might add, she's the one who put her on the show this past summer and injured her. So why not have her come back as the mystery partner and become a tag team champion? So just like that, Charlotte Flair comes right back and she gets another title opportunity and gets another taste of gold. So now Asuka and Charlotte Flair are the new tag team champions. So this is a godly team. I don't see them losing the tag team championship anytime soon. But the only way I do see them lose is Charlotte Flair is eventually going to turn heel and turn her back against Asuka and cost them the Raw Women's Tag Team Championship, unless she decides to individually challenge her for that championship in a different way. So they might even write it differently. But you already can see this coming. Because remember how Shawn Michaels kicked John Cena's head off? He super kicked him when they were the tag team champions, and then they ended up losing it, and then they ended up competing one-on-one against each other for that WWE championship against at WrestleMania. It's gonna be the same thing in the case of Asuka and Charlotte. It's just not. It's inevitable at this point. So you just know it's coming. So it's really predictable. But let's get into the last final matches. The Universal Championship. I really wanted Owens to win this match. He was so close to winning. But of course, I knew Jey Uso was going to get involved. Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens in the second tables, ladders, and chairs match for tonight. So Jey Uso ended up interfering very early in the match, and no matter what he did, he was just basically the reason why Owens wasn't able to get the championship, because he was able to capitalize. He just kept getting up. He was taking everything, scratching and clawing, getting speared, hit by tables and ladders and stuff like that. Just excruciating pain, just all the pain that you can imagine. He just kept getting up. But Jey Uso was the reason why Roman Reigns ended up retaining again. So I think, just like I said, from just something similar with Charlotte turning against Asuka, but a different situation with family being involved. I think Jey Uso, being his own cousin, is going to turn against him and eventually cost him his Universal Championship. That's the only reason why, or the only way I see Roman Reigns losing that title, because I can't even think of anybody else who's going to step up and challenge him. So, and it's just so, it's predictable. I mean, he's cool as a heel. I like that they did that. Oh, he's the Paul Heyman guy now, the new Paul Heyman guy. But now he's speaking for himself. Oh, the tribal chief. It's a big difference from Brock Lesnar, because Paul Heyman was doing all the talking. But now Roman Reigns can speak for himself and give him just to try to mic up and increase his mic skills and all. But as the tribal chief and the head of the table and all that, so now he remains still the tribal chief and the head of the table, since he retains his Universal Championship because of Jey Uso. But I think that's the only reason I'll probably see him end up losing his championship. But we're just going to have to see what happens for Friday Night SmackDown. I don't know who else is going to be as another challenger at this point because I don't see Owens coming back for more or anything like that. So maybe Jimmy Uso will probably come up and have something to say. So we'll see. Our final match, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton in the Firefly Inferno match. I thought The Fiend was going to win this match. But it was just so crazy to see him light The Fiend on fire. So I think he's going to come back. He's going to come right back from the dead and just from the flames, from the engulfing flames that took over his body in the ring. So I really wanted The Fiend to win, but I guess they wanted to really conceal this line. I don't think this is over. Alexa Bliss is going to come back, I'm sure, and have something to say. I think Randy Orton's going to be out in the ring tomorrow night, and he's going to be talking about how he ended The Fiend, he's dead, and he defeated the Nightmare and conquered his fear, and he wasn't ever scared of him, never scared of him in the first place, but just the fact that he looked the devil in the eye and he just destroyed him and burned him away, and just the Fiend ceases to exist. So I'm sure he's going to say all that, and then the Fiend is going to come out maybe possibly tomorrow and surprise him and attack him. So I think it's going to lead into more of a feud. We'll have to see. But if not, I'm curious to see if maybe he'll want a shot at the championship again, but I don't think they will because he already had a couple shots, multiple shots against Drew McIntyre. So he won the belt and then he lost it again. So that was it. But I really enjoyed it. It just ended with him with just pouring more gasoline on his body and then lighting that match and then just lighting his whole body on fire. It was a little scary to watch too because I thought he's going to start just like he's just wow, start screaming. But it was just so just scary to really see that. Just once he threw the match down, I just kind of closed my eyes a little bit because I didn't even want to see what was happening. But I'm sure he's okay because they already processed everything because it's scripted and just written that way. But I think he's gonna come back tomorrow. He's gonna come back from the dead and from the flames, the crazy flames, and attack him. And maybe he'll drag Orton down with him, or maybe somebody else is gonna probably attack him. Bliss might have something to do with it in a way. But the Firefly Funhouse is my favorite promo. I love seeing it every night that they come on for Monday nights. The Fiend is the best character still going for this era, and I'm just glad that they put together all these shows and these events this year when they didn't even have to. They could have shut this whole thing down because it's still getting bad and it's still getting worse around the world. But I really enjoyed this final event, and I think it's going to lead into more craziness tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that Royal Rumble match. I hope it's somebody different in January that wins it, and I'm hoping that someone can at least just take that spotlight instead of the same people getting the championship, the same people getting that title opportunity. There's no more rematch clauses. And the fact that the same people can rise up to the top and just come back, get the gold right away. Like Charlotte Flair, for example, she came back, got the title opportunity, and now she got more gold around her waist. That was really quick. But it was just already meant for her to come back because to get that revenge and get redemption towards Nia Jax because she's the one who injured her. So it's just things like that you don't want in the storyline that you see coming already. It gets too predictable. So I want somebody else to get that spotlight for Royal Rumble. And just a quick prediction to throw out there, someone that's not different, but I know Seth Rollins is probably going to come back. He's going to be a surprise entrant in that Royal Rumble, and he might be have a good high chance of winning the Rumble. But I would like to see the Royal Rumble like from when Drew McIntyre won. That was one of the best moments because he's somebody that was different, someone who never really got that spotlight, rose to the occasion, kicked Brock Lesnar's head off, and just was able to retain that title and also get it right back. And somebody they just didn't do, let's use him as a one-hit wonder, and then we'll just throw him back down, throw him back under the bus, and then we'll give it right back to the same people over and over again. So I'm hoping that they do something different and continue to give these other stars, some other superstars, a chance at these titles and not have them just, we'll give him a shot even though he's new and then he's not going to win anyway.